Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this best of 5 series between IMMVP and his Blue-Zerg opponent SlayersCella. This is an exhibition map from Battle.net, so just practice game. No money on the line, except there is pride on the line between the two players from IM and Slayers. IM and Slayers actually very close houses. They practice against each other very often, both housed in Korea, of course. Both of these players aiming to win the GSLs over there. IMMVP, of course, has already won 2. He is definitely the favored in this best of 5 series. And for those of you guys who are wondering where I have been this week, unfortunately, I have started working officially a job on my plate, so I won't be streaming during the day anymore. I will be working instead. But I will be streaming and casting on nights and weekends, so expect at least one cast and one stream per week. I will keep that strict minimum, at least one series, sorry. I will keep that as a strict minimum just to keep my channel growing and keep you guys coming back to me, because I love you guys who are watching. And also, in case you have not heard, the Diablo 3 beta will be coming out so soon. I expect it to come out this week or the one after this, because everything is in place. I mean, they are ready for it. Some fan sites have already received invitations, and emails have been going out here and there. So the Diablo 3 beta is almost out, and expect more Diablo 3 videos on my channel as soon as that is out, because I was such a die-hard Diablo 2 fan, a lot more than StarCraft 1 actually, weirdly. Even though I love StarCraft 2 and I will keep casting them and playing it, I will be in a Diablo phase for quite some time after the Diablo 3 beta comes out, and as soon as the release is out as well. Now, MVP is throwing down a bunker right next to this hatchery and the Vespene Geyser. I love this positioning, because this actually hints to Cella that he is serious about this bunker rush and might be 2-raxing. But these drones are actually not attacking the SCV, so this bunker might actually finish. I was going to say that this is not a serious bunker rush by MVP, because he only has 1 barracks at home. But now that this bunker is actually going to finish, this Marine actually getting perfectly surrounded by Cella, and this rush might be prevented. These 2 Lings are actually hacking away at the bunker. This Marine might actually make his way into the bunker. This SCV is still not being attacked. He is at full health and repairing the bunker, so it is slowly going to go down, but this doing a lot more damage than it should. Now, finally, the SCV getting attacked by a single drone, losing that drone. The Queen gonna start hacking away at this SCV, and really that bunker rush did a lot more damage. But MVP not salvaging that, and I expect him to actually be behind on the resources lost tab. He is actually behind. Nice pullback on that Ling before he dies, because that bunker was not salvaged. I mean, that was still an SCV, a bunker, and 2 Marines lost for a total of 250 resources. Meanwhile, I mean, SlayersCella only lost, I think that was 2 workers and a single Ling, so for 125. And now he is very safe to drone up behind this. Meanwhile, MVP doing his very recently normal build. I am saying recently normal because recently we have been seeing a lot of this build from MVP, throwing down a barracks and a factory right after this. Meanwhile, the gas is started while the barracks is about halfway done, and the factory being thrown down as soon as the barracks is done. A reactor being built on the barracks, swapping the 2, and then producing a command center right after this. These 2 Hellions walking up inside the main base. They have managed to kill about 4 workers, 5 workers total. So 7 worker killed by MVP. This was actually minimal damage, because I don't think that Slayers had anything to deal with this. This Pine Crawler was not done when the Hellions actually walked inside the main base. 4 more Hellions gonna make their way across the map, and really SlayersCella has to be careful at this point because, well, there is a huge gap allowing Hellions to actually walk inside the main base, and with only 2 queens here, if actually nice little counterattack by Slayers, hold that thought, he might be able to kill a bunch of SCVs at this point. 2-4 going down, might he get a 5th one? Yes he does, so 6 SCVs killed, and nice counterattack. MVP not paying attention, this little glitched out supply depot inside the ground not being raised, and I was gonna say that this the gap between the expansion and the main base is actually very open, and with only 1 queen that is not going to be enough to pick off the Hellions fast enough. Now the Hellions have run back home just to deal with those lings. It was unnecessary, but SlayersCella throwing down a Roach Warren and producing a lot of queens. He actually had 3 queens, 4 now on the field, and this is actually really weird. Usually you go for Roach Warrens, roaches or queens. Now getting both, and I really don't know the utility of this. Now the Spine Crawler is going to be able to block these Hellions from moving forward, but these queens should be able to intercept them. But no, not blocking. The Hellions now free to walk inside the main base, and that was actually huge. The drones are lining up, and that is just so bad at this point for SlayersCella, and he is going to be able to clean this up, but it is now 27-27 harvesters. Meanwhile, MVP does have mules as well as his second base, and that was actually huge. The Hellions were trapped behind here, the queens hugging the hatchery instead of being planted behind the mineral lines to trap the Hellions, doing a lot more damage than they should have. And now I have to give the upper hand to MVP. Actually, he does have tanks and siege mode already done. He is starting off his supply depot wall, and really MVP is looking in great shape at this point, and really I don't know what SlayersCella will do to come back. He is getting his lair, and expect Baneling Nest and Burrow to start as well as Mutas, but he should really be getting that third base at this point. There's the Baneling Nest. He should really start hacking away at those rocks because he does have the money to expand, and he needs to do something big to come back in this game because he is so far behind. I mean, it is 39-34 harvesters, so he is still ahead on harvesters, but with those mules you can see the difference that it makes. 1200 to only 1,000 income per minute, and really MVP is looking so good. I don't know what SlayersCella is doing at this point. He is throwing down his Spire, but not researching Burrow just now, not even hacking away at those destructible rocks, so might he be going for an all-in on 2 bases here? I don't think this is wise because it is not going to work, especially against MVP on 2 bases. At this point, MVP has such a lead, he could just throw down so many turrets inside his main base and expansion, be completely invulnerable to those Mutas, and I don't think that Mutas are actually the way to go in this game, simply because, as I said, MVP has such an income lead that he can spend a lot more minerals than he usually should on turrets and be completely Muta proof. Meanwhile, a small drop is gonna go down inside SlayersCella's main base right when Stim finishes, but this isn't going to do too much damage. A nice transfuse on the Queen, keeping it alive, and now that Mutas are almost on the field, these drops are going to end by MVP. But he is deciding to push out here. This drop is going to rejoin the main force. Meanwhile, SlayersCella is actually going to go for a counterattack. These supply depots have been raised once again. And is this going to do any kind of damage? There are no units here by MVP. These supply depots are actually in danger of going down. Finally, the SCVs are actually getting pulled off to repair. Meanwhile, MVP is pushing out the expansion, and there's just nothing here. A lot of Banelings being morphed at the top of the ramp, but this is just going to do so much damage. The SCV is managing to repair all the supply depots, a handful of Marines and a tank, gonna prevent this wall from going down, but this supply depot is actually gonna burn down. The Banelings and Lings are actually pushing forward. gonna be able to clean this up. A nice split by MVP, saving a handful of Marines, and this is just what you wanted, because that will actually prevent the mutas from cleaning up the tanks. And now that is just so much damage being done by MVP. This expansion is going to be a lockdown, and since Slayers does not have a third base, he is just in a world of hurt. It is 60 to 92 supply, and I expect a GG at this point. I know that SlayersCella is actually very resilient and does not like to GG very early. He is going to try and fight his way back. These mutas finally going to be able to clean up these tanks, but that is just so many reinforcements. And SlayersCella has absolutely nothing to deal, not even picking off the tank, leaving it alive with only 2 HP, and that is just the most frustrating thing. There it goes, finally finishing it off. But these Marines can actually just walk up here because there is actually nothing on the field to deal with this. You can see that there is just a couple of mutas, a spinecrawler building, and practically no lings. There are 5 lings and 4 mutas on the field. I mean, these Marines alone could just walk up and clean this up. And you have to admire SlayersCella's courage to actually come back in this game, but more reinforcements gonna join up in the main push from MVP, and we are gonna be seeing a very fast 1-0 lead by MVP. That was such a one-sided game. Besides, apart from that small counterattack by MVP, even lifting out the Marines before the Banelings managed to kill them off. And really, there is nothing he can do. There's a GG, and we are going into Game 2 between MVP and SlayersCella, so look for that, and thanks for tuning in, guys.